Alright, so we have another Super Metroid 100% qualifier race. Uh, yeah, this is the last qualifier.
It is. So this is the last time for all the runners to get like their times in before the bracket starts tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I
Uh,
believe I believe the time to beat is like a 1:28 of some description. I can't remember the seconds, but it's around that mark that these runners need to aim for. Uh, so yeah, I think this is going to be really exciting to see who exactly like gets qualified. I'm
yeah, I
sure
was
there's
running in this yesterday. The time to beat was 1:30:50, and it's no surprise that it's been lowered a little bit.
yeah. Tracy says it's a 1:28:56. So yeah, MM2 currently in 49th. Yeah, he needs a PB again because he PB'd yesterday. Um, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see who manages to make that cut-off mark. But yeah, I think this is going to be really exciting. Since we've had a lot of runners, we've had a lot of variety. We've seen a lot of newer runners as well. We've seen some runners just like come out of retirement for one race. So these qualifiers have been really exciting so far.
Yeah, it looks like we have almost 20 people in the race channel right now, so
Yeah, yeah, we've got about 18, 19 runners thus far. Should be starting shortly, just probably getting everyone to ready up and yeah, I think this is gonna be fun.
yeah, I'm looking
Um,
forward to it. Trying to investigate people's personal bests before the race. I found MM2's PB of 1:30:18, Telemorph at 1:29:50, Mass Hysteria at 1:28:37, and I could not find this last runner. I don't know what we call it. B1ZN
Bison.
Bison.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what his PB is, but I know that they're a good any percent runner. I think they have around a 50-minute time off the top of my head. Sorry if I got that wrong, but yeah, got a lot of interesting runners today. Like we've got Hood Ruby, Kip, Azure, Cutie, Decalled. A lot of solid runners in the race time chat. Yeah, that's right, Sish. He got a PB yesterday, which is 1:29:42. So he needs to PB by about a minute to make that 48th place.
Yeah,
Um,
and even then, that might not be good enough because this is the last qualifier, so people could still be lowering their times.
yeah. So we could see some exciting finishes with these runners on stream. Uh, so yeah, it's going to be a good one. For sure. I'm really excited to see the routes and the strats that people do. Like, I've been so impressed just like watching all these runners, like people who I haven't really known about going out for these like late croc routes, go for the optimal route and doing like all these good movement tricks. So I'm really excited to see these runners show off what they can do in order to get into this qualifier.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it'll be great for these runners here just because, I mean, we can throw on the best runners in the game, and that's always exciting. But here, I like watching these a lot as well. These runners are not the best in the game, but they're cutting it real close for these cutoff times, and I think that's more exciting because it's a lot closer, you know? There's a lot more on the line here. They got to get under 128:56, or they don't make it in. and these guys are all on the cusp, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is like the final chance to get your times in. Um, it's definitely going to be exciting to see for sure. I think I I I don't want to make any predictions, but maybe the final time to qualify might be a 1:28 like 30 or something like that. Um, but maybe we could see a 1:27. Um, so yeah, this is gonna be one to watch for sure.
Yeah, so just waiting on the race to start here. I think just looking at the personal bests of the runners here, I'm going to go ahead and guess that they're all going to do the same route, which is early Qualifier because it's easier. I think more consistent, and pick up ice later.
Yeah,
That'll be it.
yeah, because it's interesting that you say more consistent because yesterday's race, like one of the runners was doing early croc and they actually got a faster time than someone else who was doing a late crocodile route. But I guess the difference between them really is that grapple beam. Because the grapple beam allows you to do a quick kill on Dragon without having to shine spark or any of that stuff, and it also allows you to get to Shot Tool without an ice clip.
Yeah, that can be a big thing. But more than that, one of the big reasons that the late Crocmire route saves a lot of time is because you're picking up the spike suit typically, which is a very, very close or frame perfect trick, I believe. It's just really hard to do, and the time save I think is so marginal unless you're competing for those really, really almost world record times.
Yeah, on the late Crocodile route, it's so easy to like lose like time because you made like a mistake or you're struggling with like ice clip or harder tricks like that. So yeah, it's basically run a preference, but is the more optimal route. So yeah.
And it looks like some of the runners. Well, it started already. The runners are off. They're going to start in series station as you always do. Uh, Unavoidable. You run it in nearly every category, and the goal is to just get in and get out as fast as you can. There's a couple of minor time saves here that you can see the runners doing, trying to stop in front of the doors just ever so slightly to give themselves a little bit of extra room to accelerate. And then we will see them go and fight Ridley, or in other words, take as much damage as possible from Ridley as they can. And once Samus is below 30 energy, then the fight ends and Samus can escape Serious Station.
Yeah, this is just a part of the game that you get used to more as you run the game. Like, it's not something that like you need to practice when you're first starting out, but it definitely makes your life easier when you know how to damage yourself down on Ridley.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that it just running this game at all, you're going to get practice for this because every category, like I said, it runs this part of the game. And for me, this is also probably the biggest reset point. You know, if you just miss one, make a tiny error in Serious Station, it's always very demoralizing, and it's just so easy to reset here. You know.
Yeah, especially if you get like a really frustrating like steam and the steam knocks you off the platforms, or you fail to damage yourself down forwardly, so it goes on longer than it should. Uh, but all runners seem to have no issue with series thus far. Um, so
Yeah,
yeah, then we have this little cutscene here where Samus follows Ridley onto the planet Zebes, and this is where the real run starts. The runners have to pick up all the items in the game without the use of glitches. So yeah, because in terms of 100%, you obviously have to pick up every item. Um, so yeah, hopefully none of these runners accidentally miss an item. Because it usually leads to a forfeit unless they saved prior. But
I don't
yeah,
think we'll see any saves here. Their personal bests are kind of at the level where you're doing this whole run without saving. And we see actually the first
yeah,
bit of a like speed tech here, I guess, is the moonfall. For me, this is a relatively new trick because when I was running this game a lot, it nobody knew about it. But basically, jumping while moonwalking eliminates the terminal velocity cap for Samus as she falls down, so you can fall down quite rapidly. And in that room right there, it saves about 4 seconds.
yeah. As we saw, MM2 sort of didn't get it, so you can just like see the difference between all these other runners who are like synced up, and then MM2 just behind them shortly.
Yeah, so they'll all be picking up Morph Ball and then grabbing the first missile pack, and then they will head up back through that part of criteria and fight Bomb Terizo.
Yeah. So in this part of the game, you don't go through the right door. You do that like way later. Because you know you don't need the missiles, and it's quite difficult to get the energy tank in the ceiling.
Yeah, it would be
So
slow, much faster to pick it up when you have all the items.
yeah.
But
So
we will actually see these runners going through. You know, we talked about series being such a big reset point. I also think that this room coming up, the climb, is also a huge reset point, just because it's so easy to make an error here and just fall like nearly all the way down, and that can also be really frustrating. But typically, what we'll see the runners do is wall jump along the side. We can actually see Telemorph doing that right now, and try to make it all the way up like that. You can also do what Mass Hysteria is doing, and that's what we call the Behemoth climb, by trying to spin jump through the platforms like that. It's a
yeah,
very minor time difference, but it's just a matter of what you're comfortable with and what's consistent.
yeah. The climb is very tricky, especially if you like accidentally get hit by the pirates, or you know, you just mess up one of your wall jumps or something like that. So yeah, quite tricky to do, and not really something you want to practice because it hurts your hands. Like
Yeah, if you're doing
any
the wall
speedrunner will tell you.
going back and forth on the controller D-pad. So yeah, now they're coming up on Bomb Terizo, the first, I guess, mini boss of the game that you fight. Typically pretty easy, and we're gonna hopefully see some tech in this fight as well. What you want to do here is hit him 5 times with the beam, and then hit him with 7 missiles, because for his last 100 health, if you manage to get rid of that health with just 1 missile, then you skip an entire phase where he does a short animation. But if you do it with the beam, then you have to see that animation. It's very slow. But all these runners manage to get it, so no problem there.
Yeah. And also in that fight, you stand on a specific pixel so that Bonterizo doesn't like walk forwards throughout the room, and you can keep him on the right side, and he just sort of stands there. And that's also useful in terms of like not being hit. Because if you get hit, then you will get drops for your health, and you don't want those drops. You want the missile drops in order to shoot him. So
Yeah.
yeah, it looks quite simple to us, but there's actually a lot of thought gone into why the runners are doing what they're doing on screen. So yeah, that's just a cool thing about that fight.
Yeah, and
And
then
it looks
we're going to see Tillim coming up on, I would say, the first major sequence break of the run, where they're going to pick up super missiles going through this door on the right-hand side here, using a mock ball. Typically, to get super missiles, you have to fight Spore Spawn, but you can actually skip that entirely by going through here and doing a mock ball underneath these gates.
Yeah, the mock ball is just kind of OP. Like, I can't remember, but it's like your speed just like is like continuous and faster than like running, I think.
It's the same speed as running. It
Right.
it just preserves the momentum from whichever direction you're doing a mock ball from.
Right.
But the reason it works here is just because your sprite is smaller, so the gates don't hit you when you're trying to dash underneath them.
I see. So yeah, that mock ball allows us to get into this Brinstar reserve area early and pick up these 2 missiles, the reserve tank, and then also missiles under like the bridge, I guess. Well, the crumble bridge. And yeah, they don't have to come back for these later. And it also
sorry, go
the
ahead.
entirety of no, it's fine. The mock ball also skips the entirety of the Spore Spawn fight, so pretty big time save, and definitely like something you need to learn as a speedrunner of this game.
Yeah, it's actually a good trick, even just for casual play. I think the like movement, it just makes the movement feel a lot more fluid, and it gives you a lot more options to getting through rooms. So it's just a good trick to know.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty easy to do as well.
By the way, I missed it. Did Tillimorph get the reverse mock ball?
I didn't
Does it
see
make
them getting the reverse mock ball on the way out.
I think I don't know. I think it was like the way that he's kind of like a bit more ahead now, and also like the angle that they took to get those missiles underneath the crumble thing. They may have gotten it, but I might be wrong. Not fully paying attention to all runners, SMH. But yeah, they're gonna pick up this charge beam, but they don't pick up these charge missiles until later when they do bring clear up. And I believe it's because if you pick up those missiles, then you get kind of like more missile drops than you want, basically. But you don't need to
That
pick
can
up
be
those.
a part of it, but another reason is just because it's actually just faster. It's such a minor time save, but there's no reason not to do it in this case because if you pick it up on the way back, you're waiting when you. Well, we'll get to it, but basically,
Yeah.
it's much faster to drop a power bomb as you're falling through. You have to go through the charge area again, and while you're waiting for the power bomb to explode, you can pick up the missiles. Then it doesn't cost you any time, but it's slower if you do it now because you have to just move ever so slightly left. This is one of those very, very minor time saves that you might as well do if you're running this category. It doesn't cost you anything to do this, so
Yeah.
it's just it's something that you should do if you're running the category. It's not like you need those missiles either.
Yeah, like you already have like 4 missile packs at this point. So yeah, definitely not needed.
We can actually see here, Bison, Tillimorph, and MM2 all actually have really low health here. This is making me a little bit uncomfortable. It's not something that you think about in the 100% run that often, just because it seems so hard to die when you have so much energy tanks. But if you're not careful in this crate area, it's actually pretty easy to accidentally take a hit or two, and then even if you don't die, if your energy is reduced below 30, a crate will give you a bunch of health drops instead of missile drops as well, and that can be really bad.
Yeah, being on low health here can be dangerous because like these green pirates, I think they're called, that we're about to see, they actually do quite a bit of I'm sure all the runners will be fine, hopefully. We don't want to see any early forfeits.
Bison actually at 30 energy. That's pretty scary, to be honest. 39 energy from Tillimorph is also very scary, I think. And it just means that they have to, not get hit going into this next segment here.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, look at no. Do not go into the trade fight Bison with 28.
And you saw that he did a D boost there as well, which I think I think that's a bit of a kind of a muscle memory play that you do it all the time anyways. But it actually brought his health below 30. Yeah, so that's I would say pretty risky play.
Yeah, if he oh no. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Bison getting the stand-up glitch, which means this is not getting the stand-up glitch, so this is kind of spooky right now. Oh no, doesn't have enough supers even. Oh
Oh,
no,
geez,
no, oh
this is
no,
close.
uh-oh.
He's got to be really careful here. This is what one of the things that you don't
Oh,
see a lot is this crate fight, just because it's so easy to not easy, but it's typically common for the runners to skip the second
okay,
phase by killing him.
okay.
But yeah, he got health
This is
bombed. That's
fun.
very unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah, 2 missiles. You don't want 2 missiles. Um, but yeah, should be able to get some ammo hopefully from mini crate.
Yeah,
Might do a mini farm here as well just before the room with the enemies in. Oh, didn't get a drop. Oh, getting
dropped.
health.
Unfortunate. One super is
Okay,
okay. I
no
think that'll
super.
but it's going to make getting through this room a little bit harder, actually. Oh, no, he has a charge spacer. I guess he can do that.
Right, cool. Alright. This is fine. But
Having a bit
should
of
be
trouble.
okay with 4 supers.
Yes.
Um,
It's just the lack of missiles that might make this a little bit tricky, but I don't think they're actually strictly required here.
yeah, only really needs them for opening the doors. So yeah, should be okay. Um, but yeah, we've got the other runners in the high jump boots area, making sure that they pick up the energy tank missiles and the high jump boots, of course. Um, like so far this is like um old route any percent. It's actually picking up just a little more items. But yeah, runners should be relatively safe from now up to Wreck Ship when we have like the other scary part of the game.
Yeah, the
Since
Fantoon fight
yeah,
itself can be scary if you're not careful, and then obviously the rooms after Fantoon are really the only last point of danger in the run.
yeah,
It's pretty hard to die after that, just because you have so many energy tanks. But up until then, it can actually be pretty tough to survive.
yeah. I think Bison demonstrated why the trade fight on low health was scary, and then hopefully no one else gives us a scaring Wreck Ship.
Yeah,
Uh,
runners going up to well, we see Morph getting there first up to Bubble Mountain, and they're
yeah,
going to pick up the speed booster, which
yep. Speed boost is pretty important, since there's some speed locked items in the game. So stuff like Wreckship Preserve, Main Street Missiles and Meridia, Aqueduct, things like that. Speed booster is very so yeah, we get it quite early in the run, and it just overall helps with some tricks like shine sparking across moat and ocean.
yeah, obviously it's an
So
item that you
very
speed
useful.
run makes you go fast, so that's good.
Yeah, many
But
reasons
like you
why
said,
speed boost is good.
I think if the wrecked ship reserve was not locked behind speed booster, I think it might actually be faster to do wrecked ship first. But we actually see that in the any percent route, the new route, where they go and fight Fantoon first thing, and then come to Lower Norfair afterwards. But unfortunately, you can't do this in this run because there would be a crazy amount of backtracking. So it is faster to pick it up now
Yeah.
and then go to the ship and do another pass afterward.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if we saw people like full clear at ship and then do Norfair and then come back up after you have speed. Like, It just doesn't sound optimal just talking about it, so that's why we always do trade first and 100%.
Yeah, and the runners are actually all pretty close here, all within several rooms of each other in that Bubble Mountain area. It looks like Telemorph is ahead, followed by Mass Hysteria, and then MM2, and then Bison. But we will see as these runners come up on this next segment here. They'll be probably doing Crocmire, I would guess, and grabbing Grapple Beam and then making their way up to Wreck Ship.
Yeah, Croc first is like we were saying before, it's useful. Although it's not the most optimal route, it's very useful.
Yeah. I think the difference, like we were saying earlier, the difference in times between routes optimally, it's not that significant. I want to say it's in tens of seconds, but it's also just way more consistent and, in my opinion, way easier to go for Crocmire first.
Yeah, so gonna have some procs on our screens multiple times at once. Charge and Spacer and Wave. It's nice. Looks like Mass Hysteria is doing a bit of both, like shooting the charge shots and the super shots.
Yeah, it's best to start the fight with a. He opens his mouth, and you have the opportunity to fire a missile and a super missile. And if you do that twice, and the opening to mouth opens, then it's actually optimal in that case. Because he'll take 8 steps back, and then you can just fire the charge, wave, spacer shots, which make him take 2 steps back each. I don't know if Telemorph got this. I too busy watching MM2's screen over there. But another trick that you can do in this area is if you stand in the acid and aim at the top right, angle up, you can actually open the door on the other side of the room with a charge shot. So we might see MM2 going for that, maybe.
Yeah,
like.
yeah, that's a type of wraparound shot. We see some of those throughout the run. Oh no, Telemorph bonked on the door there.
You know, it's actually not a big deal if you miss it, because I've been playing around with this, and you really want to be careful with your energy here, just because of the Fantoon fight coming up. I legitimately think it's easy to die if you're not careful, and not getting the Shine Spark there means that you have an opportunity to take up a quick farm, and you're not draining your health from the Shine Spark either.
Right, yeah.
We see a Moonfall from Telemorph. And they'll be going for Grapple. There's another really difficult strategy here with the Grapple Beam. I think the Grapple Beam is one of those items that runners just don't use a lot because it's hard to use. The intended way is that you can swing back and forth on certain blocks and certain enemies. Yeah. But it's hard. And it's not something you pick up in any percent, and it certainly doesn't make things faster. So it's very hard to use. You don't get a lot of opportunity to practice.
Yeah, the grapple beam's kind of like a weird one, because you have to sort of, I don't know, it's like you're doing your casual playthrough all over again. Because I feel like in this game you sort of get all these items in your casual playthrough and then you like never get them again. And the grapple beam is definitely like one of those items where it's like so weird with like the physics. Also, we just had a nice sync with Mass Hysteria and MM2 there. But I think MM2 didn't get the grapple beam first. Alright. Alright, so looks like Bison is just going down here to get his items. As Tillymorph looks to be leaving.
Yeah, we didn't see any runners utilizing grapple beam there. It's actually faster to pick up that missile back on the way out and grapple onto the rippers up there, but it's way harder. So
Yeah.
in a race, you really want to be consistent rather than go for the really hard strategies. So that's a totally fine play there.
Yeah. Can I just say that I really like the cosine room? Not because it's like the way it's designed. It's just I like the name of it because it just reminds me of like my maths days when I'd like do maths and just be like, "Yo, cosine, I know what that is." So yeah, shout outs to the cosine room.
Don't quote me on this, but I think it's actually a sine wave and not a cosine wave.
Well, you see, the thing is, right? The cosine graph is plus 90 on the sine graph. So they're basically the same thing. It's just the cosine is just shifted along. So does it actually matter? See, Tracy says it's cosine and she's a maths teacher, so yeah, it starts high. Because the whole point of a cosine graph is it peaks on at 0 on the x-axis at like 1, and then it goes to 0 at 90, if I remember correctly. So yeah.
Yes, welcome to SpeedGaming 2, where you can get your Super Metroid speedruns and your math education.
Yeah, Super Metroid is just maths lessons in sheep's clothing. But yeah, we get to see Red Tower from Tillymorph and Mass Hysteria now. Um, Red Tower can be annoying to do, especially if you don't like get your D boosts or if you accidentally fall in a Vile Plume or Samus Eater, if you will. But these runners are making it look very easy right now.
Yes, that's another hard room coming up here actually with MM2. We saw Tillymorph going through this, the hero shot in Red Bridstar. I think they need to have just Wave Beam equipped and not Spazer, but typically you want to fire a beam shot and make it travel through those rippers without hitting them so it can break open the block at the end. And if you can do that, you can just jump straight through there, and it looks really cool, but it is very, very difficult.
Yeah. Oh no, now the entire chat's just talking about maths. I'm so sorry to the people who didn't like maths at school. I really enjoyed it, so I'm a bit of a nerd. Alright, Bison is having a bit of issues with this Red Tower climb. With high jump boots, I actually find that it's harder because the visual cue is different to without high jump boots, which is what you do in the new route. Um, he could like choose to use his supers to shoot all the flying bugs. I forget what they're called, but that would require using supers. So hopefully they don't spend too long trying to do this.
I think you can actually clear it out with a power bomb as well.
Oh
Which,
yeah,
at this point,
power
honestly, if you're
bombs.
struggling with it this much, it's probably a better idea to just do that and eliminate the inconsistency with trying to jump through them. If you don't have a very consistent strategy for this, it's way easier to just clear them out and then jump through. Because look at all the time that's being lost at this point. It's really rough, and all the energy too.
Yeah, that energy is definitely something that you don't want to be losing right before Fantoon. Since in Red Ship, there's no save because Fantoon like draws all the power, so it's turned off. So you can't make any safety saves or anything like that. But he has made it, so yeah, hopefully he can catch up to everyone else.
Yeah. So Fantoon, you guys, I'm sure all know about Fantoon. Difficult fights. Like I said, probably the last point of, well, nearly the last point where you can die in the run.
The penultimate point.
Yes, followed by the spiky room of death, which is dangerous for different reasons. But Fantoon is really tricky. Typically, what you see here, well, it depends. Some runners like to go for the X factor strategy, which is just using a charged wave special beam attack. And if you do that twice, Fantoon will die if you hit him perfectly, but it's really difficult to do consistently. But sometimes it's also consistent and easier for runners to just shoot a bunch of missiles into Fantoon and do what's called a Doppler strategy, where you try to hit him with as many as you can on. Yeah, we saw Tillymorph doing it right there.
Yeah.
Very close to the same frame, and that way Fantoon doesn't disappear. And then finishing up with a super missile. Mass Hysteria is running very low on health. I don't know what his reserves look like, but this is a scary position to be in. Yeah, this is not what you want to see.
Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh god. Not like this.
115 energy is probably okay, but still close, I would say. And he is totally fine. Don't worry about it.
You have the Warrior suit, so you do less damage on Fantoon than without. But it's still pretty scary to see. Yeah.
MM2 is done with Fantoon. So just Bison, excuse me, with that unfortunate red tower mishap, he is a couple minutes behind at this point.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he manages to be able to make up the time difference.
I mean, we still have at least another, well, not at least, we have about an hour to go for these runners, probably.
Yep.
So there's plenty of places he can make up time, plenty of places he can also lose time, so could go either way.
Indeed.
We're going to see the runners coming up on the Tillymorph and MM2 and Mass Hysteria coming up on what's called the Spiky Room of Death. There's a lot of spikes, and they deal a lot of damage. You're going to see some platforms that drop down, and they deal 100 damage if you hit the bottom part of them, which can be really bad because if you have less than 100 energy and it goes into your reserves, you'll just get hit again, which means that you'll just die.
Yeah, that's the thing about this game. You get double hit if you go into your reserves, and it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, and the worst part about this room is the fact that there's all the water, and it's only in part of the room. It just makes it very, very difficult to get through consistently and cleanly. But we see Mass Hysteria getting through it with no problems. Tillymorph will be coming up right behind him, and then MM2 will be following Tillymorph.
Yeah, so we've actually seen a lead change here, right? With Mass Hysteria and Tillymorph.
Yes, but they are very, very close, which is always exciting to see.
Yeah. I bet it was probably to do with the Fantoon fight as well.
That's a huge thing.
A lot of RNG.
We see Mass Hysteria leaving this room as well. There's actually a secret strategy I like to do here where you see those sparks there. You can actually grapple them, and when you touch them with your grapple beam, it damages you, and you can get a cheeky little damage boost there. I don't know if it saves time, but it looks very cool, so I try to do it every time.
Yeah, I've not really seen that strat, so that'd be interesting to see.
That's because it doesn't save time, so that's why you don't see it.
Yeah, I guess. But you get the cool points. You get the cool points.
Yep, that's what it's all about. So the runners will be coming up on the attic here. Probably doing a speed booster strategy, I would assume, to clear out the enemies here using a Shine Spark. Yeah, we see Mass Hysteria going for it. They want to open up both sides of the room, because if they don't, then they have to clear the enemies again later.
Yeah. Just another thing about this game. It's kind of annoying, but it's fine. It came out in like 1994, so we'll cut them some slack.
And the worker robots here, mass hysteria, having I don't know if it's difficulty, but these worker robots, it's possible to clip through them if you take damage and then just kind of jump. I really, honestly, am not really sure how or why this works. It works half the time maybe, and half the time they just won't let you through.
As I've kind of seen it, it's kind of like similar to when you do Zeb Skip and you sort of do like those mini like spin jumps to get through the Zebs after you take damage. I could be wrong, but that's what it just looks like every time I see that strat.
Yeah, I like the MM2 strat here, where you just shoot missiles at them. It's oh wait, no, he's trying to clip through it. I think it's just way more consistent to just use missiles. You're never gonna miss. So.
Yeah, that kind of wastes a bit of time, but yeah. It doesn't seem that bad, but it's just one of those rooms that you have to practice over and over in order to get consistent. So,
we'll see the runners coming up on the bowling alley here, I believe.
Yep.
If any of you guys remember from runs a long time ago, I would often describe this room as a great opportunity to check your social media, as the bowling Terizo here gives you about 40 seconds to just check your phone, do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Nice little break. One of the things that I'm seeing here, though, is Tillymorph and Mass Hysteria, they only have about 200-ish energy, and that means that on their way out, they're going to have to stop at the ship in order to have enough energy to do the Shine Spark in the ship room. So they will have to be mindful of that, otherwise they'll get they'll be in for a bad time in the gauntlet.
Yeah, usually you want about 200 energy to do that, like, Shine Spark. Just so you have, like, enough, and just in case you accidentally, like, dip into the lava. So yeah, it can be risky, but, Tillymorph has some energy in reserves.
Yeah, so now Tillymorph picking up the gravity suits. Mass Hysteria, actually, like, they're within seconds of each other.
Yeah, they're super close together, it's insane.
Yeah, and MM2 is also just right behind them as well. I would say less than 30 seconds away. So it's a close one here. One of the things that they'll be coming up on is with this, what do you call it, wraparound shot in the ship room. And we'll see Tillymorph and Mass Hysteria probably going for it around the same time. Same thing that they did in Crocmire's room, opening up the door on one side of the room from the other side. But the problem with this is it's nearly pixel perfect. Them having Spacer Beam equipped, or rather Tillymorph having Spacer Beam equipped, might make this a bit easier for him to get it consistently. But it's a very tight window to get this wraparound shot without Spacer.
Yeah.
Yes, without Spacer.
Yeah, it's a very cool trick that we've seen a lot of runners try to do, but looks like both Tillymorph and Mass Hysteria are choosing to do the ship refill. MM2 might skip the refill entirely and save a bit of time there based on his health.
I don't know if it's going to save time, though, because if he doesn't have enough energy in his reserves, he's going to have to he's going to be stopped halfway through the gauntlet room anyways.
I think
you need about you need about 200, but you also need to keep in mind there's a Shine Spark in the ship room as well, getting up to the top right there, the room that Tillymorph is in right now. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, that's also true. If you look at Bison's health, his health is pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, he can use the grapple beam to get through the bowling alley here. So I don't think he's actually in danger of dying, but it does make it a little bit slower, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, not
And
having a lot of health to work with at all.
here's that shine spark that we were talking about from Tillymorph and Mass Hysteria, just blasting through the gauntlet.
Uh-oh. Okay, Bison's fine now. Alright, let's see what MM2's going to do here.
Actually, Bison might not be fine because if he is not careful with this shine spark here, he's not going to have enough energy to make it through the speed blocks to get this reserve tank, which means that he'd have to come back later, which is extremely slow.
Yeah. It looks like MM2 is just gonna go through Gauntlet fine here with his reserves. Should be okay. Yeah. Barely having enough health, but can get this energy tank and is now safe. So he actually skipped that ship refill that I was talking about.
Yeah, so a little bit faster there.
Yeah.
I just want to see what Bison's going to do in this segment.
Yeah, and has to do a bit of wall jump to, yeah, 50 health. That's,
Yeah, it's a good call. Good.
yeah.
Otherwise, he would have been stuck and would have had to come back later and make it his
Oh
way through the
no, that would
entirety of the
be
wreck ship.
awful.
Yeah,
That
easily a
would be
2-minute
so
time loss,
sorry.
at least. So now we're going to see the runners heading down to Brinstar to clean up all the items here. There's some nice little movement tech that you'll see, hopefully, from some of the runners here, but they're just going to be making their way through this the Brinstar shaft area.
Yeah, they get some more E-tanks down here with the Eticunes, and I believe they also go to Waterway at this point as well. So yeah, getting quite a bit more E-tanks now, just to be a bit, well, I'd say be a bit more safe, but yeah, having
Yeah,
a lot of E-tanks
at
is
this point, I
useful.
don't think anyone's going to die.
Yeah,
I think energy is no longer a concern.
yeah, I think we'll be fine for the rest of the run. As long as Bison doesn't accidentally die on his way to the ship refill here.
Yeah, it looks like he's
Yeah.
got it, so we don't need to worry.
Just randomly dies on the spot out of nowhere. Like, what? It'd be horrifying, but I think it'd be a tiny bit funny just to, like, randomly die.
So, Mass Hysteria, Tellymorph, same room. We're going to see them cleaning up all the items in this big pink area. One of the strategies that hopefully they'll go for, Mass Hysteria will be heading to there first. We call it the Mission Impossible, because you drop in as quick as you can, then jump out before the block reforms. You'll see what I'm talking about if they get it. And the thing about the strategy is people think it's actually really tough, but if you can actually buffer the strategy if you get the quick fall through the blocks there, and it actually makes it really consistent. If you just hold right and jump as the item collection message appears. Unfortunately, neither of the runners went for it, and if you're not experienced with it, that's totally fine as well, because I mean, it doesn't really cost you any time to go for it, but it does mean that you'll be killing the enemies, which you wouldn't have had to do if you're not going for it, which I guess saves some ammo.
Yeah, that Mission Impossible strat always looks cool to see. But I
Yeah, it's a
think I've
fun.
only seen it once, which was last week.
Oh, if you're watching more of these 100% races, you will see it again. Don't worry.
Yeah, everyone, if you want to see the Mission Impossible stat, stay tuned for more 100% races. that's how we get people to come back to this channel, living in hope of the strat to be executed well.
There is that strat and many more that we will see on this channel as well later on.
If you're interested in Super Metroid or strats, follow the channel for more races. See, that's how you get your plug-in. Yep, the runners, I think Tillymorph just went to the Spawn Supers, and MM2 did as well.
Yeah, there's a bit of a trick there as well that you saw the runners doing. There is a super missile block that blocks your path, but it doesn't. It's not loaded in memory unless you scroll the screen in a certain way. So you see, there's different setups for it. Some more consistent than others. But now, geez, we got Tillymorph and Mass Hysteria just within literal seconds of each other. Same item, same area. Followed very closely by MM2. You see Mass Hysteria and Tillymorph laying a power bomb there. That's just so that they can open up the door in the top right of the room later. And it saves a very tiny amount of time. The next area they'll be heading down the Red Brinstar Tower, and then they'll be heading to Meridia.
Yeah, Meridia, definitely the best area in the game because of Shacktool and nothing else. There we go.
I don't know that I agree with that, but
no,
right.
It's funny because I actually don't really like Meridia. Like every time I run this game, and I like, it's Meridia time. I'm just like, yeah.
We will see some really exciting strategies from these runners, though. There's a lot of sort of minor optimizations that you can make in Meridia that add up over time. The first thing that we'll see is them picking up this Main Street missiles here, where they have to use a Shine Spark to blast themselves straight up through the speed blocks at the top of the room.
Yeah, it's quite hard to get the Shine Spark. Oh my, Tilly making it look easy. That definitely is not an easy thing to do. But
Yeah.
a lot of runners do what Mass Hysteria just did, where they line themselves up on the plant at the bottom. It's ridiculous to pull it off. Requires a lot of practice.
Yeah, and actually, the
yeah.
intended way of getting that is perhaps my least favorite way of getting an item in the game, because you have to get it on your way out of Meridia, because there's a room where you can charge up a Shine Spark to the right there.
Yeah.
But it's gated by a green gate on the other side. So you really, if you're doing this the intended way, you only get one shot at it, and if you miss it, you have to go all the way back around.
Yeah.
But fortunately, the runners have the ability to charge their Shine Spark in a shorter distance. So
yeah, that is definitely probably one of the harder like items to be getting, like whether it's like speedrunning or like just casual. It's just really difficult.
yeah,
So,
Tillymorph having a bit of trouble with the Mama Turtle E-Tank here. Looks like Mass Hysteria is having a bit of trouble as well, actually. Honestly, at this point, I would just run into the other room, charge up a Shine Spark, and blast your way up. The grapple strategy is just so inconsistent, it's so hard to do. And we see Tillymorph going for exactly that.
yeah, the Mama Turtle room is a weird one. Like you never really know like which way to do it. But looks like MM2 has caught up a tiny bit with Tillymorph here.
Yeah, Telemorph and Mass Hysteria both having a bit of trouble in that room, so it gives MM2 the chance to catch up a little bit here. Bison still a fair bit behind. Again, probably just because of that red tower mishap.
Yeah, it was a mixture between Red Tower and then Red Ship and being on low health and things like that. So they've had it a bit rough this qualifier race.
Yeah, Mass Hysteria going. What do we call this area? The watering hole, or something like
Yeah,
that.
beach and watering.
Right. So this next room here, it's an awful room to get through in a speedrun. It doesn't seem to be a fast strategy for it, just because of the way the room is designed. It's just very tricky to do.
Yeah. Meridia is just a hard area to get around. Like I feel like Norfair, even though it's a bit scary because all the monsters, I'm saying monsters again. All the enemies do a lot of damage, but the movement in Meridia isn't as bad as it is in. Did I say Meridia? The movement in Norfair isn't as bad as it is in Meridia, because in Meridia you obviously have the Main Street missiles. You have like these invisible walls in this part, and then you also have Aqueduct, have the intended way to get to Chateau, which is kind of difficult as well. So yeah, I feel like Meridia is just quite hard to get around in general.
Yeah, it's one of those places that's hard to optimize in a speedrun, but playing through it casually, it's not so bad, I don't think. We'll see Mass Hysteria heading towards Botwoon, which is a snake mini-boss. He has the worst hitbox in the entire game. He's very difficult to hit. Sometimes other pieces of him overlap, which means that he can't hit his head every time. And actually, this is a little bit interesting because we see Mass Hysteria going for these missiles and super missiles now, when it's faster to pick them up later when you're coming out of the sand pits after killing Dragon. So I think it's an I would describe this as an unusual routing choice. This is not what I would be going for. Maybe he just wants more supers for the Dragon fight, for the Botman fight. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think the only reason that you would get those items here is if you were uncomfortable with. I don't know though, like, he's got grapple and they've got large wave, spazer. I don't know, yeah, I'm unsure on that decision. But, it could be a valid strat. And he's going for the X Factor as well, so.
That was really impressive. I haven't seen someone do an X Factor strategy like that before. Typically, there's other setups for it, but I've never seen someone do it like that. That's really fast and just very impressive.
Yeah, showing off those decalled strats there. And also going for the shine spot. Oh, I don't think they got it. Yeah, was a bit too low to go across the entire room there.
Yeah, but that's one of those strategies that you optimize last. I think the full halfie there, because it's the timing window is very tight. But just going for the regular halfie there is not as tight of a timing window.
Sorry, can we just appreciate how all three of these runners were like in the same room all at once? Like, what?
Yeah, that's been the thing about this race, is these runners have just been so close with each other. They're not actually racing against each other here, because this is a qualifier. They're kind of racing against their own times here. But just the fact they're all so close to each other, it's really cool.
I meant to nearly forget about those missiles. Could have got them on the way out, so wasted a bit of time there, unfortunately. But might have just fell down by accident. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of those missile packs where if you fall down, if you're not used to it, you might forget them on the way back out. So maybe he's just going for a consistent strategy there. This Dragon fight, it's actually faster to do this using Speed Booster, but it's harder. So my guess is that we'll see the runners going for the grapple strategy here.
Yeah, it looks like Telemorph is trying to stutter in those that shine spark there. And that looks like what Mass Hysteria is doing as well.
I think he's actually going for a blue suit. I think I'm mistaken here. Steelymorph going for the grapple strategy, which is a very fair choice. Mass Hysteria is not, which means this tells me he's probably a any percent runner.
Yeah, MM2 just missing that quick kill there. Because if you position Samus in such a way, you can attach yourself to the bottom one and kill Draydon very quickly. But these runners in general seem to be having issues with the Shine Spark kill. And like I think I was saying this earlier as well, it's really hard to do the Shine Spark. Just because there's a lot of practice in it. But yeah. But yeah, that Draydon fight has definitely separated these runners a bit more.
I mean, I don't think they're that far away from each other still. MM2 certainly losing the most time there. But I think they're still within a couple of rooms of each other. And, I mean, there's still lower Norfair to go here, so this could give the other two time to catch up.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, chances for these runners to sync up again. But the runners...
You know what? I can't remember what one of the runners did the missiles in this room that Steelymorph is in already, so they don't have to go back for them.
Yeah, that was Mass Hysteria who did Aqueduct early.
Right, so I would say that puts them firmly in the lead of these four runners here.
Right.
They're going to be heading down to grab Spring Ball and pick up these items in sand pits here.
Yeah, this routing in Meridia seems weird. I think I've talked about it before, how I think it's weird that we do it in the way that we do. But obviously someone's fought it out in the past and been like, yeah, this is the optimal route.
Yeah, it's just because you have to go through the sand pits twice here. I don't think there's another way to get around it.
Yeah.
So Mass Hysteria coming up on the Spring Ball here. Spring Ball, not something that you see in any percent, so a lot of people might not be very familiar with it. But it's actually it's an interesting item in that it lets you preserve your momentum in weird ways when you're jumping in Morph Ball. So I personally have just been playing around with it now, and there's a lot of things that you can do with it that I didn't expect. That small optimizations that add up over the course of your run. But of course, they have to wait for Shack Tool. This room also another great opportunity to check your social media, respond to some text messages. There's not much else to do here.
Yeah, well, Shack Tool is obviously the best part of this game. Oh, we actually have a sync on M2 and Tillymorph's screen now.
They're all in the same room right now.
Well, I think MM2 and Tillymorph have Shack Tool in the same position.
I think MM2's Shack Tool is one cycle ahead, or vice versa.
But yeah, it's crazy how much like MM2 has like come back, because at the start of this race he was a bit behind everyone, and now he's pretty much sync for sync on Tillymorph here. So it just goes to show how crazy this race has been. Alright, so looks like those three runners are done with Shack Tool. Oh, and I didn't even notice Bison's health here.
That's real scary, yeah. So he can't even do the grapple strategy because he'll just take too much damage. He's got to be really careful here. He's taking opponent's reserves. you know, we say like Fantoon's the last point of danger in the run, but you know, Dragon no, Dragon also very difficult. So
Oh, Canadian Owl in chat points out that Tillimorph did Aqueduct earlier and MM2 hasn't done it yet. So yeah, there's been a bit of difference in routing there across these three runners. Hopefully he remembers to go back for it. You don't want to be missing 2 items.
yes, we want to see the runners get 100%.
Yeah. Not 98, not 99, not 50. How hard do you have to like mess up to get only 50% of the items in Hundo?
Well, because that tells me that you're picking up way more items than you need to for any percent. So I'm really not sure how that would. There's any situation where a runner would get 50%. It's always the 98s, 99s. One of the big things that people often miss, I think, is like the watering hole items. That'll put you at 97%. And that's always really disappointing as well, just because those items take about 2 minutes to get. So I remember I had a personal best where I saved about 2.5 minutes because I skipped watering hole, but then I realized it was a 97% run, so. Anyways, our runners making their way through Cacatac Alley here. Mass Hysteria looks to be in the lead.
Yeah, you do this room in reverse compared to other ways. Like, obviously, an old 80% route, you do this the right way round. But yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
think...
game kind of gives you a very clear path playing this casually to pick up Plasma Beam right after Dragon, which is what you do in any percent, like you said.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that in 100% the fastest way is to go through it backwards. We're going to see these runners wrap up the Meridia cleanup here, which will put them, make them start heading down towards Lower Norfair, where they're going to go fight Ridley.
Alright, so, okay, yeah, I just figured out MM2's route. He's doing Aqueduct now, and then, the left sandpit, I think.
He's going for the 3-tap short charge there, which is, I think, much harder. Well, it is much harder to do than the 2-tap or the 1-tap. But he tried it multiple times there. Typically, what I would do in this case is if you miss it once going through, you can actually just charge a Shine Spark in the bottom part of the room instead. And I think having those backup strategies really will help improve times. So I think it's a bit of a time loss to try to charge the 3-tap Shine Spark multiple times there.
Yeah. And we get to see the last of Shot Tool and Bison. They pick up a Spring Ball.
Bison still only has 170 energy here. I really think they should have grabbed the E-Tank after the Botsmoon E-Tank, after that Dragon fight, because 170 energy is just, it's too scary.
Yeah. Meridia has a lot of enemies in it as well. So yeah, kind of scary on their part. But looks like Mass Hysteria is not forgetting Trade's Mills. Very easy item to be forgetting.
I think this is actually going to be a little bit tricky for Bison. I think those space pirates in the plasma beam room do a lot of damage, so he's going to have to be careful. And that kind of seems to be the theme of Bison's run here, is he's going to have to be careful. He's having a lot of trouble with, not trouble I would say, but his health has been low start to finish.
Yeah. But yeah, we get to see Mass Hysteria doing Norfair, getting the Ice Beam, and then should be getting Ice Missiles. I don't think they're actually called that. I think they're called like Crumble Shaft or something. And then probably just gonna go down to a lower Norfair, and start that section of the game.
Yeah, there's a. I doubt we'll see the runners go for this, but the room that Mass Hysteria is coming up on, there's a strategy that I always like to do just for safety. You see, he's actually going for a Shine Spark. He's doing exactly what I do. I love this strategy. It's so good. It's slower than just jumping through, but the problem is in that room there's crumble blocks. All those platforms will crumble if you touch them. So if you charge a Shine Spark and dash through the room like that, you'll hit those missiles every time consistently. So even though it might cost you like half a second, I still say it's worth it. Because you're going to fall through that room one time when you don't try that strategy, and it's going to be just a huge disaster.
Yeah, that room's very hard to transverse in general. So MM2 is going to pick up his Ice Beam. Still not that far behind versus Stereo Tillimore.
Yeah, and we're going to see, again, Lower Norfair. It's one of those segments that I think there's a few time losses here and there that you can make. The Ridley fight, I don't think it's particularly difficult in 100% because you have however many energy tanks plus full beam combo. But Ridley's hitbox is difficult to work with, and it's a hard fight to do quickly, I would say. So we might see some runners having some trouble here, or maybe some runners will catch up and make time over the others.
Yeah, Ridley's one of those that you kind of learn how to like manipulate him. So like he like does the pogos, so you fire supers or charge shots into him. But yeah, when you first start running the game, Ridley's very difficult, but you kind of develop a feel for it.
We see Mass Hysteria in the lavatory, flushing the lava away.
Yep.
And he's going to be coming up on the Golden Chorizo fight. This missile pack right here, you got to be careful with. I typically like just going into Spring Ball, which is what he's doing here, because if you just hold the jump button, you can just jump across. Zero risk of falling through those crumble blocks there. If you fall through, you have to go all the way back around, which is very, very slow. And we're actually going to see, hopefully, a trick from all the runners with this fight. If you stand in very close to Golden Chorizo, where Mass Hysteria is standing, and just fire upwards, each charged shot will hit him twice, and you can't get hit. So you just stand there and then kill him. Tillimorph missed the missiles, so he's going to have to go all the way back.
Oh, really?
That's a significant time loss.
Oh no, that's so bad. Hopefully no one else misses those. That's one of the worst items you miss.
Yeah, I would say that and the sand pits are some of the worst items to miss. There's actually a clip that you can do to get back up, but it requires a crystal flash and just really tight positioning, and I think none of these runners will be going for it, so it's probably faster to just go all the way around. I mean, it sucks, but you gotta do it at this point.
Yeah, that's really bad, but okay, MM2? Okay. So that can allow MM2 to overtake Tillimorph in this race because of that mistake.
Yeah, we see Mass Hysteria in the worst room in the game. It's actually not that bad in 100% because you have screw attacks. Those space pirates that are jumping back and forth there don't give you as much trouble. Bison still has not yet made his way into Norfair, so he's a fair bit behind. And we see Tillimorph actually going all the way around there. I think I agree with this is probably how you have to do it. The fastest way to get back is to just jump up through the ceiling there and make another loop around.
Yeah, definitely really unfortunate. Probably costs about a minute or so, right?
I would say it's in the realm of about 2 minutes.
Oh lord.
It's significant.
Yeah, that sucks.
Mass Hysteria is making his way down to Ridley. MM2 right behind him, and Tillimore, for that unfortunate mistake, has a ways to go to catch up.
Yeah. Oh. So, yeah, well, it's like, my sister is nearly there and Ridley. I don't know if they'll get power bombs of shame before or after.
It's quicker to grab them before, so I think that's what the runners will do here.
Yeah, I saw someone get them after the Ridley fight in one instance. So I thought that was interesting.
These metal pirates in that Mass Hysteria is fighting, I think this is the only time that they appear in the game. They can be a little bit tricky to manipulate, and they hit really hard, so any percent can be a big gatekeeper for a lot of runs. But they're pretty easy to take care of in 100%. So Mass Hysteria will be the first to fight Ridley. Ridley takes 20 charged plasma shots, or 30 super missiles, or some combination of the two. So we'll see what strategy they go for. I think it's actually faster to do the super missiles, but since he doesn't have 30, you have to do some combination of the two. But it can also just be consistent to do what he's doing right now and make him do the pogo stance thing, and just fire charged plasma shots until he dies. Honestly,
Yeah.
this fight can be tricky to optimize. Like I was saying, it's a tricky fight to optimize. I'm honestly not 100% sure how you get him to pogo every single time, so it can be tough.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of strat where you shoot like the top of Ridley, or like you see how he kind of like shot Ridley's tail and then Ridley sort of turned around still pogoing.
Yeah.
I think it's just about like making sure you shoot the right part of him. But yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, we see Mass Hysteria making it pretty quick work of Ridley. I like the strategy, the speed booster strategy for dealing with the metal pirates here from Tillimorph. It's definitely, I would say, an any percent strategy, but it's fast and safe. Not something you really have to worry about in 100%. But I think it's a hard strategy to do. It looks really nice. But Tillimorph and MM2 pretty close with each other here.
Yeah, MM2 starting his Ridley fight just as Hysteria is leaving. Tillimorph also in his Ridley fight at the same time.
Yeah, we see him actually using the super missiles there, which I think are a little bit faster. But it's one of those things too where you do have to be careful, because if you run completely out of super missiles, you're going to make the Metroids really difficult for yourself in the Turian section.
Yeah, I think you only pick up like one super pack after this fight, which is climb supers. And there's not really a lot of great super missile drops to be getting either. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not something you think about in 100%, that you have to manage your ammunition like that, but it is one of those things that you do have to manage, because when you get to Turian, you need to have a certain number of super missiles.
Yeah.
Just because, one, killing the Metroids is faster with super missiles, and two, the Mother Brain fight, it's faster, the first part, when she's in the jar, to just shoot her with 9 super missiles. So you want to make sure you have enough for that part.
Yeah, managing ammo is a small part of Hundo, and it's, like I said, super missile drops are kind of few and far between, since you're more likely to get a missile drop, since, you know, if you have like 100 missiles and you have 230 total, then you're obviously more likely to get a missile drop. But yeah, super drops can be hard to come by, so yeah, that's something also to keep in mind.
Yeah, I can see we saw this from MM2, but Tillimorph going for a little bit of a setup as well to get through the bomb blocks there and using a speedball. I think that's okay, but I think if in that instance I would have just ran straight through and used bombs to get through, because I think the time that you lose from the setup might make it about equal at that point. I'm not sure. But they're going to be grabbing the, I don't know what you call this E-tank, but in the fire flavor, yeah. Mass Hysteria is making their way out of Lower Norfair right now.
Yep. Making sure to get the Franco Z missiles. Because it looks like the Franco face sea dog. With the shape that it's in. So yeah. Nearly out of Norfair now. All Mass Hysteria has to do is go to Norfair Reserve and make his way back to Old Brimstone to clean up there.
He's got to grab the bubble mountain missiles as well, in the bottom right here.
Oh, okay, yeah. I always miss when runners get those, so it's interesting that you get those when you do.
I think there's no faster time to get them just because now you have screw attack. I think honestly, for running this game, you want to collect as many items as you can now because it's way easier to do it with the full beam combo plus screw attack than it is earlier on.
Right. So, yeah, making sure to pick up both of those items in that room. Yeah, okay, going over to the right there. I was saying in chat that you do Norfair Reserve at that point in time because of space jump. I think that makes sense. Because if you do it earlier in the run, then I guess the only items that you would have are like bombs.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have.
You definitely wouldn't
gravity.
go back after you have grapple, so that makes sense. But I think I was meaning more the bubble mountain missiles. That you get those later than earlier, I guess. I guess it's just one of those routing things.
Bison's gonna have to be careful again with low health on really. Oh no, he's fine. It's all okay.
Everything is okay. I don't want to see Bison in any more low health scenarios for the rest of the run.
Yeah, I mean he's picking up the E-tank here, and then that should be it for low health. Other than the mother brain fight where you want to have low health. So.
True. Alright, so hopefully Mass Hysteria remembers to get X-Ray going up for a tower. That's actually kind of an easy item to miss since you have the muscle memory just to walk past it. But Power Bombs it also is definitely gonna go through it.
Yeah, X-Ray, definitely something you want to save until the very end because it messes up your item selection. If you're running and you have X-Ray equipped, then you'll just X-Ray instead, which is obviously quite slow. And there's really, in a speedrun, there's not a lot of use for X-Ray. Especially not in this category, because you already know where the items are, you don't need it.
Yeah, X-Ray is useful in like randos if you get plasma early, since you can use the microwave beam. But obviously in vanilla you get plasma like way later, and then you can't X-ray any enemies after you acquire it in Meridia. So we don't really need it.
Also, all-star of the any percent glitched category, but not something that you see a lot of otherwise.
Yeah. X-ray is one of those really interesting items because it allows you to X-ray climb and go out of bounds, but most people just run glitchless categories of this game.
So Mouse Hysteria coming up on the construction zone, I want to say it's called. And he'll be grabbing his last few items here.
Yeah, MM2 and Tilimorph are very close again. Like, despite the fact that we saw Tilimorph take that huge time loss, and MM2 was like ahead by like 30 or so seconds, the fact that they're now like pretty much tied up again is pretty insane.
Yeah, they are very, very close to each other.
Yeah, I'm really glad that this qualifier race has been as exciting as it's been.
Yeah, as like I was saying at the start, you can watch the best runners of the game, and that's always impressive and exciting. But I think that watching runners who have less experience, who are of equal skill levels or so, is also very exciting. Because then we get situations like this where they are just, right next to each other.
Yeah. And Tilimorph has actually edged a tiny bit ahead again.
I think MM2 is going to pick that up, though. They're in the exact same spot.
Yeah, this final, like, few minutes of the game is going to be so interesting with where these runners are going to finish up.
Here's the thing, though. They got to finish the game up in the next 10 or so minutes here. Otherwise, they're not going to qualify for the tournament. So they've got to hustle.
Yeah, MM2 is, I think his timer is a bit red, which may mean he's behind his PB. So that's kind of Monka-esque. But yeah, let's see where this will finish up.
Mass Hysteria getting a really nice Shine Spark that you can charge from the construction zone and hold it all the way up until the old Mother Brain room there. Saves quite a bit of time. Meanwhile, Tilimorph and MM2 in the Billy Mays missiles.
Yeah.
Mass Hysteria will be picking up the last two items here, the Climb Supers, followed by the Cavity missiles. One thing that I'm just noticing right now is Mass Hysteria has 220 missiles. I don't know if they missed a missile pack, or if they're not at full missiles, then that's okay. But it's possible that they end up with 225, which would be really bad, obviously.
Yeah. Hopefully we see all 230 missiles, even if you have to go to the dentist afterwards. Yep. We're gonna kill that joke into the ground, aren't we? Throughout this tournament.
It has been dead for years. It was dead when they first made the joke, and it's dead now.
Yeah.
And it will continue to be dead until the end of the tournament, but we're gonna use it anyways.
Yeah. So Mass Hysteria did like kind of cheat a little and farm some enemies to see if he gets more than 225 missiles.
We'll definitely see that when they do the Metroid rooms there.
Yeah.
Because obviously Metroids drop a whole ton of ammo. I'd be really frustrated if I were him, missing a missile pack here, especially because this is the last qualifier that they can participate in. I'm not seeing any of the enemies drop missiles. I'm a little bit worried. He's okay.
So definitely got all 230 missiles. Oh, MM2 having a better shine sparkler than Tilimorph. Like, these two are just neck and neck. This can come down to how well they do stand-up glitch and Taurian. But I know that MM2 doesn't do baby skip, and I'm not sure about Tilimorph, so...
Yeah, the baby skip is one of those strategies. It doesn't really cost you anything to go for it and miss it. And it is really hard to do consistently, so I wouldn't be surprised if they just don't go for it. But if you get it, that's a good 40-second time save. And at this point, if they want to qualify, that's the kind of time save that they need right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Mass hysteria in the third waiting room of the game, so another great opportunity to check their social media, their phone, whatever. And now they're back off to Turian. Going to be fighting the
Yeah,
Metroids.
turning off Varia and Screw Attack, which to me suggests stand up and also probably Zep Skip the normal way.
They'll probably not go for the baby skip as well, just because if you're turning off Varia, it means that you're taking twice as much damage, so it's a lot quicker to just get through that segment without having
Yeah.
Varia on. Same for the Mother Brain stand-up glitch, just because you, instead of having to reduce 4 E-tanks, you'll only have to reduce 1. Very clean
Yeah, definitely.
Metroid rooms here by Mass Hysteria, by the way.
Yeah, these are looking pretty nice so far.
MM2 and Telemorph, again, same room.
Yeah. Again, it's really crazy how all these runners have been like pretty much side by side. Unfortunately, Bison has been behind pretty much ever since Red Tower. But they've still like shown off a lot of skill throughout this race.
Mass Hysteria damaging themselves right now. This tells me that they're going for the Metroid skip, and just gonna take the Metroid and take the damage. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're not confident in your baby skip, then you might as well just do that. It's fast.
Yeah, not everyone knows how to do baby skips, so I think that's fair.
Got some nice grouping strats. This is another reason that it's useful to turn off Screw Attack when you do Turian, because if you have Screw Attack enabled when you're trying to pick up the Metroids, they'll just bounce off of you. But you can actually group them up with having Space Jump on like that. I think the grouping strats are way easier than trying to go through for them individually, so a very respectable decision here.
Yeah. I actually kind of like the way that runners do Taurian. Like, even if they do the most basic strats, like, it still looks really cool to see them, like, do the quick menuing on freezing the Metroids and then selecting missiles.
I would say that's the hardest part of doing Turian is the quick menuing. It's not something I've ever managed to get consistently. I don't know. I don't know what the trick there is.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, I just really like Taurian. I think it's like, even though like it's pretty much the same thing over and over, it's still cool to see. But yeah, Telemorph is also doing baby skip. So these runners on the top screen won't be the difference won't be made with baby skip. But yeah, we do have Mass Hysteria entering the Mother Brain fight first out of all the runners.
Yeah, this is actually, you know, we say there's no danger at this point, but you're not actually really in danger of dying here. But what they're going to want to do is go for the stand-up glitch, which, if you're not aware, is it's possible to damage Mother Brain while the Metroid is latched onto you. With this creative use of taking damage here. But if you're not careful with this part here, it's possible to fire beams when the Metroid appears, or when the Metroid's moving around. There's some odd frames where if a beam is on screen, it'll actually lock your game. Yeah. So this is actually a kind of a scary point. It's a point of danger as well.
Yeah. MM2 decided to do the Spring Ball Zep Skip, whereas as Telemorph did the regular Zep Skip.
Yeah, and they're again super close. And you can see Mass Hysteria getting the stand-up glitch. So he's going to deal some extra damage to Mother Brain before the last phase of the fight. Meanwhile, Telemorph and MM2 just beginning the fight.
Yeah,
Bison a ways behind, but he will hopefully catch up.
yeah, he just went to 230 missiles, so should be at G4 in just a second.
I think for Tillymorph and MM2, this will be like they've got to play really smart here, really careful, because it's going to be really close to a qualifying time.
Yeah.
I think Mass Hysteria as well. I don't remember what the cutoff is right
It's a
now.
128.56.
Okay, so I think Mass Hysteria can get it if playing perfectly. I don't think MM2 or Tillymorph are within range anymore, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Mass Hysteria needs a really good escape. Like he needs to pull out like all the stops. So oh, Mass Hysteria and Tillamoth already have times below the cutoff. Alright, okay. Thank you, Tracy, for killing for clearing that one up. Um
Yeah,
so
and for
yeah,
Bison, unfortunately, I do not think this is going to be a qualifying time. He's still got all of terrain to take care of.
yeah. This looks like a 135 if it's really good. Because that will be about 8 minutes. Um, MM2, I don't think it's physically possible to beat the time, unfortunately, at this point. But we'll get to see all these runners finish out their runs, hopefully.
Yeah, Mass
Let's,
Hysteria will be
yep,
a low 128.
yep,
Yeah, I think MM2 will be a low 129 here, or mid 129. Same with Tillymorph. It'll be interesting to see who wins between the two of them.
yeah. Um,
GG for
but
Mass
yeah,
Hysteria,
yeah.
by the
GG's to
way.
us for finishing first out of these runners on the screen. But we do have a lot of dot duns in the SRL chat. We have QT finishing first with a 117.42. We
That
have
is an
Kip.
outrageous time.
That,
That's completely unreasonable, I would
yeah,
say.
that's pretty good. We have Kip in second with a 118.07. That's a pretty solid time as well. We
It
have
says. Oh, wait, sorry.
we have C Stock TW in third with a 118.26. Hotarubi with another PB, I think, with a 119.39. Astra with a 120.03. A Zuli Not 03 in sixth with a 122.19. And then we actually have a really big gap to Rosu 123 with a 126.06 in seventh. And then, of course, we have Mass Hysteria in eighth with a 128.23.
Just for those, sorry, the bottom right screen here, Bison was able to get the baby skip, which is very impressive. Especially, so yeah, well done.
Yeah,
Tillymorph looks like he's going to take this one over MM2.
yeah, that was a really close escape. Um, so looks like Tillimar finished first on the restream, but in the SRL chat, MM2 dot dunned before Tillimar. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, unfortunately, MM2 was about a minute off that targeted qualifying time.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
unfortunately for Bison, this is not going to be a qualifying time either.
that race was really interesting and fun. But yeah, also shout outs to the few forfeiters that we've had as well. Glacio, J-Chalk, and I'm Adamantium, all forfeiting this race. I think Adamantium finished forfeited quite early on, so might have been a ret ship death of some sort. And J-Chart and Glacio forfeited a bit later. So who knows where they died or didn't finish.
Could just be frustration. One of those things about 100%. If you miss a trick here and there, it adds up over the course of the run, and it's really easy to get just too frustrated to continue.
Yeah.
Bison is gonna have to be careful. Are they dead? No, I think they're okay.
Yo, that was
Nope,
super
they
close.
are.
Oh,
They had
oh,
various
they
suit
had
off.
various suit off. Oh no. That
What a
is
way to end the
awful.
run.
Oh no. That's really unfortunate to see. Oh, can't believe that just happened. Um,
Well, that's. I guess we're just waiting on the 100% confirmation for MM2 and Tillymorph. But in the meantime, we can talk about this tournament, I guess. We got. I mean, like we said, this is the last round of qualifiers, so there won't be any more after this. Afterwards, the brackets will be set up, and players will be racing directly against each other. The top 48 players from the qualifiers will be chosen to play, and you will be able to catch these races live on the SpeedGaming channels as well.
oh, we actually have one of our runners in the setup room. If we want to interview them, got MM2 waiting up.
Yeah, it looks like we got MM2 with us in the chat. What's going on? What did you think of the run?
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Aiden. Honestly, I was not too happy with that run. I feel like I made a lot of mistakes where I could have done better, especially in Brinstar cleanup and then in Meridia. But other than that, it was a fairly good run. I really liked my Ridley fight. That was a good fight.
Right, yeah. Because I thought your run was pretty solid. Like I think you had a bit of a disadvantage at the start, but then you kind of like worked your way into it gradually, and you were so close to like Tillamoth and Mass Hysteria in like Meridia, so that was really crazy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'd watch this back if I were you. It's super entertaining.
I'll definitely do that.
So yeah, GG's on finishing, but I unfortunately I don't think you're qualifying, which is sad.
Yeah, I'm afraid I will not be qualifying to the tournament. Oh well.
Oh well, we tried.
We gave it a shot.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
It really
But
is.
yeah, hopefully we get MM2 commentary soon, TM.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for popping
That
in,
was fun.
doing a quick interview with us.
Sure. Anytime. See you guys.
I think that's just about gonna do it. We still have some runners in
Yeah.
the channel, but there's nothing going on stream here. Everyone who's being restreamed is either finished or forfeited, so that'll be it.
Yeah.
Make sure to catch future races in this tournament on the Speed Gaming channels. The brackets should be up, I would say, by tomorrow, but I don't know for sure. And we got a few. We'll definitely have many exciting races coming up, so make sure to catch those.
Yeah. And make sure you follow the runners and also the commentary if you really want to. Really exciting races today, really close. And shout outs to everyone who raced as well. Some really really good time. So I'm really looking forward to see the next stage. So yeah, thanks everyone and GG's.
Yeah, thanks everyone for running. Thanks Eden for commentating with me, and we will see you guys next mission.
Bye everyone.